Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Torment, Tides of Numenera. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're just to join me today here in the vast of the Bloom, as we talk to a guy that was talking to these two merchants, and I think he was leading them or something. He's an interesting fellow right there, as you can see. Looking for the trade post, he asks. The wiry man flashes a lopsided grin and jabs a thumb at a giant, toothy jaw behind him. He used to be in there, till the jaw. Wait a minute, these are the maws? I didn't see. The wiry used to be in there, he says, till the Bloom got hungry and ate it. At least I think that's what happened. Never can tell with this big old sack of guts we call home. Yeah, that's the Bloom all right. Then how am I supposed to get to the Ascension? One of the merchants glares at the wiry fellow. That's just what we were asking him. Well, only one way to get to the Ascension Gate, and that's through the trade post, just like I said. The wiry man squints at the merchant, as if daring him to push a little further. Surprisingly, the merchant looks away, the fight going out of him. You think you catch a glimpse of fear in the merchant's eyes, but you can't be sure. All this interest in the Ascension lately, thinks the Grizzler. Could the Bloom have foreseen something? That's interesting. The wiry man, because I think the Bloom likes me. I think the Bloom likes me, but The wiry man turns back to you. Knowing the Bloom like I do, he says, I'd bet the trade post is still around here somewhere. You might find a maw that'll take you there, if you look hard enough. The Bloom never closes off a path for long, but finding it again, that's a whole different story.
I'll remember that.
Name's Grizzler, by the way. Bloom guide, explorer, and scout. 3 times eaten by the Bloom and still intact. Well, mostly. He wriggles the artificial fingers on one of his feet. Well, that's not too bad. Where would I go to look for a maw? Grizzler purses his lips. Well, it used to be I could answer that question easy enough. I'd tell you just where to find them and where they lead, and what to feed them. But something's got the Bloom all riled up, and she's opening and closing maws however she likes. He shakes his head disapprovingly, as if talking about his own disobedient child. Change is coming, he thinks. I can smell it. Figuratively, anyway. So, if I was you, he says, I'd try the darkest corners of this gut bag I could find. Dank and nasty places, that's where maws like to rip themselves into being. The slums are a good place to start. Little Neelash, Surgeon Slump, foul little holes like that. Can you tell me a little bit more about the slums? Grizzler lets out a long puff of air, and you're fairly certain that his breath is the same color as the fetid smoke emitted from the Bloom itself. Certainly it smells near as bad. Well now, he says, rocking back on the heels of his hand feet, from where we are here right here, you can find your way to the 3 of them. Little Neelash, where all them funny-looking mutants live. Surgeon Slump, where folk go to get their bodies hacked and healed. And Old Slave Block. He makes a sour face. Folk don't go there at all, unless they're Murderns. But Murderns don't really count as folk. Really? I want to hear about this Old Slave Block. Well, it used to be a prison for slaves, back in the days of Chilla the Great. They carved it out of Bloomflash, with saws and spat solid light and blades that weren't all there. Folks say that's where Chilla was chained up, and that's where her legend was born. Wouldn't know it anymore. It's all feathers and filth in there now, ever since the Murdens moved in. They're a pack of dirty thieves, and if you get too close to one of them, your thoughts get all staticky. Makes it hard to do just about anything. I hear it's because that they talk to each other in their minds, but I guess they can do it quiet and polite. Yeah, I've seen these Murdens before. Actually, I'm pretty sure I might be saying nonsense here, but I'm pretty sure Chilla is the first cast-off, and I'm pretty sure the Great here has got to do with what she did or something. But I could be wrong. I don't know the name of the first cast-off, do I? I don't remember, certainly. So tell me about little Neelash. Or actually, let me pronounce that right. Neelash. Neelash, yeah. Grizzler nods. First of all, it ain't so little. I guess it's bigger than the other slums by half. Used to be called something else before the mutants moved in, but nobody remembers the old name. See, the mutants got there through a maw. They used to come and go as they pleased, trading goods from here and there, making all manner of shins. Somebody should have warned them that maws are ornery beasts, and they never do the same thing for too long. Sure enough, one day, it up and closed, and all the mutants on this side got trapped in the Bloom. Been stuck here ever since. Funny thing about little Neelash, folk on the outside of the Bloom like to pitch their rubbish in here straight into the nearest tube or sphincter. But no matter where they dump their trash, it all finds its way to little Neelash. Don't know how or why. Guess that's just where the Bloom likes to keep it. And he smiles fondly, and again, you get the sense that he's talking about a much beloved child. Yeah, well, that wasn't again, because before it was about a disobedient child, but still. I guess much beloved and disobedient kind of goes hand in hand sometimes. What do you know about Surgeon Slump? I'm not gonna pronounce that like the Kyurgeon, because that's how it's pronounced, but I can't do that every time, so yeah. Grizzler brightens. Well, that's where I got fitted with these. And he taps the metal and synth arms that double as his legs. A couple of nice fellows helped me out when the Bloom ate my legs. They were a little odd, I'll admit, and lacking in the social graces. Kept calling me by a number rather than my name. The Bloom blesses those doctors, even if they enjoy their work a little too much. He thinks. Nowadays, the slump is under the protection of a bunch of soldier types. Deserters, I hear, from some battle that never ends. Grizzler shakes his head. Imagine that. Fighting in an endless battle. Should have thought it through before they signed up, that's what I say. Well, there's some wisdom to that, I suppose, but, I mean, you shouldn't make a decision based on a name, right? I mean, it doesn't mean that it never ends, it just means that when you die, you go back again. That's a little bit better. If you ask me, that's the kind of where I would like to fight on. If I die, well, just respawn. Let's go for it. So, yeah, I have other questions. Why not? Doesn't look like I'm going anywhere for a while. Yeah. So, I need to know more about the maws and how they work. Grizzler squints at you for a moment, as if trying to decide if he trusts you or not. Then he nods. Well, a maw is a door. See, a leaving door. It's a connection between somewhere in the Bloom and another place. That other place might be right around the corner, or it might be in a whole different world. Maybe in a whole different time. It don't matter, none to the Bloom. Need to know? He thinks. What's he doing here? Yeah, because I said I need to know, yeah. And does the memo video know about him? Only one rule with the maws, he says. You feed them what they know, and they open. Or what they want, actually, and they open. Trouble is, every maw wants something different. Might be an emotion, or a color, or the blood of one particular fella. Or if you're unlucky that day, might be your own 2 legs. Maws are stubborn, every one of them. Until you give them what they want, they'll stay shut. He lowers his voice. Unless you got a way to cut them open, of course. Takes a special kind of weapon to do that, but the Bloom don't like it one bit. She'll remember a fellow who cuts open her maws, and things won't go easy for that fellow around here. I'd rather not do that again, not do that at all then, especially because I think I'm on the good side of the Bloom. So you said the Bloom is acting strangely. Do you know why? She's hungry for something, or someone. I can hear it in her voices, just like when a maw wants to eat somebody, only this time, it's the whole Bloom. This sort of thing used to scare me, it did. Probably it still should. I wonder if the memo video knows who the Bloom wants to eat. He thinks. I'll bet she does. Does she? Why is that wagon just standing there? Is that a wagon? Well, better ask these 2 fellas here. He nods at the well-dressed merchants. See, they were supposed to be heading for the Ascension, by way of the old trade post, but then the Bloom decided to eat the trade post. So now they're stuck. I keep telling them to look on a bright side. At least they weren't inside the trade post when it got eaten, but they wouldn't hear it. Never seen a couple of fellas so determined to be miserable. Grizzler squints suspiciously at the 2 merchants. Anyway, until they decide what to do next, we're staying put. And since they're paying me my wage, I do what they tell me. And he grins. At least until something better comes along, he thinks, or someone else demands my time. Demands your time? Sure. I have some questions about you. Alright, what questions would those be? So you call yourself a Bloom guide? That's right. Grizzler flashes his crooked grin. Ain't nobody around here who knows the Bloom as well as old Grizzler. Yeah, or Grizzler, whatever. I hire myself out to fellas like these. He nods towards the 2 merchants who are standing nearby and get them where they need to go. Of course, I'm happy to give advice for free. Can't say I ever get tired of talking about the Bloom or anything, or about anything really. So did you say you were eaten by the Bloom 3 times? Yep. Grizzler beams, obviously proud of his achievement. First time the Bloom ate me, she took my senses of smell and taste. That's fine, I told myself. Now I can eat all of them foul-tasting vegetables that folk always say were so good for me. Second time, the Bloom took my ability to feel fear. What I'd ever need that for. Just kept me from doing things that make for good stories later. Yeah. Third time, the Bloom took my legs. She was kind enough to cauterize the stumps, though, so I wouldn't bleed to death. Then I met a couple of fellas over in the slump, and they fitted me up with these. Grizzler slaps the synth arms that are now serving as his legs. He leans forward and lowers his voice. Truth is, I'm faster and nimbler now than I ever was, but I don't like to tell too many people, or they'd all be clamoring to sew up their legs for a pair of arms. Yeah. Yeah, and then you wouldn't need to, I mean, your advantage wouldn't be that big anymore. Yeah, I suppose. Makes sense. I was thinking, though, the way he was talking about it, it seems as if the Bloom is using him for something, right? Like, in a battle or something, and he loses his things for reasons, or maybe it's just title things, or laws of physics that requires sacrifice, like, if you've ever seen, Full Metal Alchemist, that's basically, the principle of that fiction right there. It's, basically, you need to sacrifice something to make something. I mean, it's a very simplification, a very big simplification of the law of, you know, nothing is destroyed, everything is transformed, or whatever. But still, it might be that that's the case. Why do you refer to the Bloom as she? Do I? Grizzler faces redden. Must be because I'm always hearing her voice. Actually, that question, I would like to, this question, I just asked it because I was asking questions. These questions are not choices, so I basically asked them all. But this question, to me, I wouldn't ask it because it's like people treating boats as she and cars and all that. In English, it's quite common. In Portuguese, we don't do that. We actually treat cars as, well, Portuguese, the thing is, we don't have an it in Portuguese. So basically, it's like a car is a he all the time. A table is a she all the time. It's like, it's got genders. And that's the problem with Latin languages for English speakers and other languages that don't have that, or that have different genders for different things. That's a problem because you need to learn all the genders for all the things. And, you know, you say, because, you know, like, for example, when we don't say the car, we say he car. Well, it's not exactly that word, but, you know, you need to know whether it's male or female to talk about the car. Our "the" is two words. We have the male and the female. So that's the problem with our language. So for us, this doesn't sound strange at all. And especially even in English, it doesn't sound strange at all. Because you hear people talk about boats all the time as she. All the boats are female, and cars as well. I think it's common to refer to them as she. So I mean, it's not like the whole question of the gender of the overlord in Tyranny, which is an actual point of contention in the game world and makes sense, and it is actually a plot point which makes total sense. But this one is just, yeah, whatever that question. So sorry for that rant, but let's continue. Do I? Grizzler's face reddens. Actually, do you? Why do you? Oh, why do you? Did I miss? I said I heard you refer to Bloom as she. Did I actually say that? I said that, didn't I? Anyway, why do you refer to the Bloom as she? That's the question. Do I? Grizzler's face reddens. Must be because I'm always hearing her voice, like a whispery, chittery sound. Tells me when she's hungry or full, happy or cross. It helps to know that sort of thing when I'm guiding folks through her guts. Yeah, but then again, in my experience, that the definition of gender to things that don't actually have gender tends to have something more to do with your own perceptions of gender than the actual whatever the thing does than anything else, really. You seem rather nonchalant about this place. Oh, well, I've been here a long while, and the Bloom ate my sense of fear, so there's that, too. I like to think she's looking out for me. Sure, she takes a little part of me now and then, but life does that to all of us, don't it? Maybe not so literally, but you know what I mean. By the way, in Portuguese, life is female. It bears absolutely no meaning. I mean, it sounds weird for an English speaker, I assume. Actually, I really think it sounds weird for an English speaker. But in French, and it's not just Portuguese. French is female as well. But we don't actually define it as women or men. It's not sexual. It's grammar. It's just simply, it's a grammar issue. It's nothing more. So it's not like a matriarchy or something for life being female or heaven being male. Heaven is male. But it's just how it is. It doesn't have any bearing on our way of treating things or life, unless you, of course, want to read into things like puns. Basically, they can be made into puns. But anyway, let's look at his clothes. His garments are rough, but reasonably well made, though the material is strange to you. It seems to be a type of leather, but it's thicker and heavier than any leather you've seen, and the colors are scabrous and ugly. Grizzler catches you looking, and he nods. "Tan Bloomflash," he says. Tough, but strong. Old Sunderman. What? Oh my god, who's that? Made these. Sunderman. Sorry, Sunderman. That's the word. He waves a hand towards one of the walkways that lead off into the vast interior. The interior. So that's the interior, not the exterior. Yeah, well, thank you. I have other questions. Actually, I don't. I think we're done. Yeah, farewell. You ever need advice about the bloom? Come and find me again. Okay, thank you very much. Let's have a chat with these merchants. Because I think they're... Oh, they're not going to talk. Oh, they are going to talk. Yes! The two merchants turn toward you. One is a heavy-set human with a large head and a wide, bony face. The other is a particularly thin and sickly-looking Violin. Its head crest is decorated and with symbols that are unknown to you. Both are dressed in rich clothing. Good, good, good. I hope you weren't planning to visit the Ascension Hall or the Ascension... Oh, Ascension Hall. Where is that? I said Ascension Hall. Anyway, the Ascension friend, says the human, whose face is set in a permanent frown. The only roads was in there, and he gestures towards the massive jaw that is closed over the far end of the platform. That's the jaw up there. I didn't look at it before, but man, he looks ugly. And uninviting as well. Why do you want to go in there? Just run. Just don't be here. They're probably experienced merchants anyway. What happened? As we approach, the entrance grows teeth, says the emaciated Violin. Oh, the Violin. You guys remember these race? Yeah. It speaks with a strange halting accent, as if the truth is not its native tongue. The teeth get big and turn into a great jaw. Down it comes, swift and cruel. All this happens fast in time it takes to walk 5 steps. The human grimaces. The bloom's good for 3 things, friend. Farting up smoke to burn your eyes, pissing foul water for you to drink, and eating whoever and whatever it likes. I hate this place, he thinks. Too bad it's a good road to make some chins, or was anyway. Yeah, or was. You were headed to the for the trade post. Oh, what else? The Ascension has its own perils, but it's blessed with a bounty of useful things. Unlike this place, trying getting anyone to pay for a hunk of quivering Bloomflash. The merchant scowls and scowls and spits. We trade in crystals, says the Violin merchant, from Ascension Place. Good business there, bad business here. The Violin attempts to scowl and spit in the same manner as his friend, but it only manages to spray the front of its garment with a bluish fluid from its nose slits. Oh, guy. Okay, so as long as he doesn't act embarrassed, I shouldn't act disgusted either. So, what are you going to do now? The Grizzle man asks us to go with him into depths of the bloom, seek out other mouths, jaws, maws that lead to trade post. We are not stupid. We say no. The Violin twists its face into a deep frown in a remarkable imitation of its companion. Clearly, it has been practicing. Oh, that's kind of charming and adorable at the same time. Which I suppose is not that weird, because charming and adorable are kind of synonyms in some ways. Better to search for another way than stay here and do nothing, I guess. The merchant snorts. Better for you, perhaps. If you're young and poor and eager to die, we are none of those things. The only reason I came here, he thinks, was because the route was laid out for us. I am not exploring, he thinks. Oh boy. Well, I'm trying to get to the Ascension. What can you tell me about it? A world made of crystal. Like this. The Violin plucks a finger-sized gemstone from its pocket. It seems to quiver of its own accord, as if it's alive. All things in Ascension made of crystal. Living creatures too. It is a cold and dark place. The sun is too small in the sky. Really? Literally? We don't venture far from the gate, adds the human. Nobody does if they're smart. And you guys are, as said that guy. What do you think of your guide? You mean Grizzler? The human gives you a sour look. He brought us safely through the well-traveled courtyard and across the many perilous meters of this platform. A gifted explorer indeed. Many speak well of the Grizzle man, the Violin points. They say the bloom likes him, if such a thing can be. You seem frightened when Grizzler rebuked you, though. The merchant eyes Grizzler. I've heard things about him. They say he can walk wherever he pleases in the bloom, that doors will open for him if he really wants to go somewhere, and if you get him angry, he'll just appear when you're lost or alone and tear open your throat for you. He snorts derisively, but you notice that he keeps his voice low. Probably nonsense. He hasn't opened any doors for us. He's too cocky for my liking, he thinks. Like he's got nothing to fear. Makes me uneasy. That's a good point, because he doesn't have any fear. That's good. I like that. I like that a lot. I don't know why. It seems so simple to write that in, but it's... Why do I like that? Because anyway, I like that. Do we have anything to trade? Not yet. We offer salts and dyes and alchemical powders to our contact in the Ascension. It whatever it is, absorbs what it likes and gives us crystalline artifacts in return. If we ever manage to get there, then I might have something to trade. You could try that flesh merchant on the next platform. He turns to his companion. What's his name again? Sunderman? His name is Sunderman. The Violin bobs its head in time and... what? Bobs its head each time it speaks the name. 2 men he is, but also 1. Really? Are you sure you have nothing to trade? He shakes his ponderous head. If we ever reach the Ascension, we'll have something of value to sell. Crystalline Numenera of all shapes and sizes. Never the same things twice, though. Okay, well, farewell. Farewell? In this place? I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it as well. This Anin didn't say anything to us, did we? Did it? Oh, yeah, he did. Grunk. Grunk, it said. Okay, let's cross this platform. Let's look at the map again. Pressed N instead. So we got this thing. We got through the old slave block. Okay, so this is like a... So this is... Oh, boy. Are those... Okay, these are just veins, I think. They're just supposed to look like veins, not feet. Let's not go through there. What is this? Sunderman and Sunderman, Bloomflash and Sundries. Oh, it looks so appetizing! What is this? It does, doesn't it? I mean, if you know it's consumable. These tools lie scattered on the workbench, along with fragments of leathery Bloomflash. So this is the guy that made the clothing, and I suppose made the clothing for... Did we find somebody else wearing Bloomflash? Tools, I think so. Dracogen, or... Right? Anyway, tools lie scattered on the workbench. Okay, what about that one? This rack holds countless tools of the leather worker's trade. And what about this thing? Each of these vats is filled with colored dye, extruded by tiny wrinkled creatures that congregate near the bottom. So it's not to eat. It's not meant to be eaten. It's the vats for leathery stuff. Leather tanning is smelly business and fatty business as well, and really, really pollutant as well. Near a display of goods that all appear to be made of Bloomflash, either tanned, beaten, carved, or cured, stands an old man who looks fairly tanned, beaten, carved, and cured himself. He also has startling yellow eyes. "Hello!" he exclaims. "Admiring my stock? You won't find anything else like it, not even here in the Bloom. All handcrafted and one of a kind." Well, can I ask you some questions? Of course. When confronted with such unusual merchandise, who wouldn't have questions? Ask anyway. So what exactly do you sell here? Bloomflash, my friend, Bloomflash. We craft everything out of it. Clothing, armor, building materials, jerky, you name it. The Bloom cultists in particular love wrapping themselves in Bloomflash, but everybody buys from us, even the Mardens. You might say our business is blooming. He raises his eyebrows at you expectantly. Did he say that on purpose because I'm an outsider? Did he notice that? His apprentice laughs, apparently. Good one, Sunderman. Oh, he's a suck-up. Thanks, Sunderman. Wait a minute. They have the same name. Good. So, yeah, that makes sense. But they're apprentice. The elder and the younger, that's their names, actually. They might be a family, but that might be like their position or something. I liked it myself when I first heard it. So many thousands of years ago, I assume. I don't know how long you have lived, but sure. What do you know about the Bloom cultists? I found only one, and he didn't say anything, I don't think. Got some odd notions, these folk. They worship the Bloom as a deity and aren't afraid of being eaten. He shrugs. Crazy, of course, but they're my best customers, so I just smile and nod when they natter on about it. And I suppose that's a good approach to have. So what do you think of these Murdens? The Sunderman grimaces. Those hunchbacked... What? Hunchbacked. Yeah. Those hunchbacked beak faces will steal anything they can get their claws on. You sell clothes to them, and because of that, they mostly let us be, but I trust them as far as I can throw them, and I'd advise you do likewise. That sounds... That's not the... Is that... Where have I last heard that? Trust them as far as I can throw them. Was it in this game? Because I know what it means, but I've only ever read it or heard it very, very rarely. And if it's twice in this game, then it's probably written by the same person either, or as well. I don't know. So what's that you said about the Murdens? Steer clear of them. Yeah, okay, that's a repeat. So tell me. Okay, that's... Yeah, let me see what you have for sale. I want to see what you have. And he's got what is that? A bonded item. Metabolism Flesh Bud. It gives you speed edge plus 1 damage per effort applied, max 6 on esoteric attacks. But it does decrease your speed pool. This spot-like lump... Yeah, I'm not gonna buy that. That sounds nasty. Refined... Oh, that's heals points of speed. That's actually not that expensive, all things considered. 6 points. It's on an ally. Refined fleet moss. Oh, it's the fleet-foot moss. I think we have some of that, don't we? Yeah, it's that one right there. Yeah, we have. It's funny because we got a lot of these at the beginning of the game and not anymore. A blood globe. It's a cipher. All in a small area, does 24 mental damage, yeah. It confers demoralized to all characters in the range. That's pretty good. I'm gonna buy that. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's the cipher. I can use it. Sting charge, a light ranged weapon. Am I using a light melee? No, that's my weapon. Sting charge is my weapon. This one is the Bloom Bone Charge, a light melee weapon that does 3 physical damage plus 3 per effort on a maximum of 15. That is quite good, actually. Do you like this? He likes medium weapons, he does. So, and she likes whatever. It doesn't really matter. This is fantastic. I could use that, but then again, it works off of speed, so it wouldn't be too good. I mean, it's a fantastic weapon. Yeah, it's not very expensive. What about this thing? Is it an upgrade? It is not. No, it is. It is quite an upgrade. So it's, of course, only usable by me. It is very expensive. But I'm gonna buy it. Oh, decreases might and speed. And oh, no, that's not good for me. Bloomflash armor. That seems very good. Fashionable from the... Not fashionable. At least it doesn't look like it. Fashioned from the flesh of the bloom, this armor is very much alive. It is, perhaps, the elder Sunderman's masterwork. Unfortunately, only I can wear it, so I'm not going to be able to give it to my friends. But there we go. That's going to be that for this episode. We're out of time for the day. So, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Torment, Tides of Numenera. That guy's trying to, well, walks without fear, but he's trying to hide in his cloak device or something. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video. But above all, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for staying with me through all the series, or if you joined me halfway through, thank you so much for watching until the end of the episode, and I hope I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.